Hi all, and welcome back to Let's Play Astro Omega Factor. Last time we took out a giant airborne beetle bomb, and then witnessed the tragic demise of our erstwhile Antarctic President Rag at the hands of the mysterious terrorist Dead Cross. Which, incidentally, is going to be exactly where we pick right back up. Chapter 5 abandons the episodic mission structure of past stages in favor of segueing directly into the aftermath of Rag's little explosive incident, chasing after Dead Cross to exact robotic vengeance on the masked man. Of course, it's not going to be that easy, and we're going to have to contend with his underlings, the Black Looks, once again. We've dealt with these guys quite a bit already, but here they start coming in more organized and varied groups, laying down some close-range black-coated looks at the same time as the more colorfully coded shooting units. And the more exotic types. These small fry are a little annoying to screw around with, as their smaller size wings kicking them around require a tad more precision. But using your machine guns to scramble them up works fairly well. They don't last too long anyway, before getting replaced by your more standard goons. Using the terrain to your advantage here can really help, as staying low will cause many lasers to pass right over your head, while you can counterattack at your leisure. But that quickly becomes unnecessary as they start calling in the giants, whose sheer size prohibits them from attacking you with any sort of accuracy. Whenever they shoot, that beam's just going to sail right over your head, so honestly, just stay rooted and punch their shins until they go down. I'm not sure if I've ever pointed it out directly, but that's a good demo of the little progressive musical chime effect they use whenever you knock enemies into each other. It's quite fun, although the EX dash there was a little ridiculous. Hello there, again Ray guys, looks like they missed a couple. This section honestly goes on for a fair bit and runs the gamut of enemy formations, so it can be a little challenging, but due to the fairly flat terrain, it's quite easy to just cheese your way through the sections with the arm cannon, so, you know, if you're having a lot of trouble, just use that. Although even with that, the giant red units like to stick around for a while, so watch out for them. Number 15, Black Looks, an anti-robot organization that aims to destroy all robots. All members carry laser guns as standard issue. The look of their trademark masks has been changed for this game. They appeared in the 77th episode of the original anime, Cape Town Lullaby. Black Looks, as they appeared in their own Astro Boy story, were an international terrorist organization completely independent of any Dead Crosses, instead headed by a masked man of their own, fittingly named Mr. Black Looks. With bases around the world, including in Antarctica, they aim to squelch any and every robotic display of power or equality, believing humans to be the only creatures worthy of rights. Though much of their hate comes from your standard racism, Mr. Lux is a little unique. His mother was supposedly killed by a robot while he was young, leading to his founding of the organization. In the requisite twist of dramatic irony, it's revealed that he is in fact a teenage boy, and his mother was a robot that had unofficially adopted him, then gotten killed by a human while campaigning to earn the right of legal motherhood. All the members wear these dapper suits, faithfully reproduced in the game, although their mask originally featured an odd little proboscis removed in this iteration, which is probably for the best because they looked rather silly. Black Looks aside, though, we are now back in the Marine Express station, where it seems our pursuit of their leader may take us a bit further than we had anticipated. Yes, it's another aerial section, and yes, we did just have a lengthy one the last stage too, thanks for noticing. Dead Cross's escape here necessitates a certain deviation from the original Astro Boy story this whole section was taken from, as his plans originally met with far less success. In order to facilitate his getaway here, he's hijacked the very train we rode in on, laying down lots of goons behind him as he went. Now this is all well and good, but it actually distracts quite a bit from what's actually going on here. This particular train, named the Marine Express, is unique in that it is entirely submerged, traveling along tracks hundreds of miles in length within a self-repairing polymer tube. That blue you're seeing out there is not the sky, it is the sea, and every single one of the Black Looks we're shooting down is thusly stranded in the middle of bumfuck nowhere Pacific Ocean, with no immediate means of rescue or escape. It's a little bit harsh. Also harsh the difficulty spike. This is the first aerial section I describe as moderately difficult, as we've now been exposed to the basic fundamentals and can move on to the mix and match stage, combining close and long range enemies, the invincible and the weak. Enemy patterns are getting a lot more organized and covering each other's weaknesses. For example, whereas previously we might have only gotten giant enemies by themselves one at a time, we're now getting doubles plus added ballistic support. You're gonna have to start bringing your A game, dodging rather than tanking, because it goes on a fair bit and resets you back to the beginning of this whole section if you get taken down. Beyond that though, it's still the same basic gameplay, which means it's time for more backstory! Except this one's a bit unique. This train, the Marine Express, isn't from an Astro Boy story per se, but it's still closely linked with him. I suppose I'd describe it as the star of its own feature-length movie, titled Undersea Super Train Marine Express. The movie itself was released just a year or so before Astro's 1980s show began to air. It was something of a compilation work, bringing Tezuka's best and brightest characters together for an entirely new plot. These characters both are and aren't the same as their show versions. This is one of the oddities of the star system in that they're basically the same in form and personality, but with subtle differences between each iteration. My point is, Astro's among them, as a mysterious young boy named Adam, while the plot revolves around both the train's maiden voyage and the conflicts that arise between the various faces on board. Although, to be entirely honest, the train itself was not originally one of those faces. No, that's something our good friends at Treasure decided to take into their own hands, loading down the thing with weapons of every shape and size and making it a boss battle. The Marine Express's offense and defense revolves around its weak points, which I shouldn't have to point out for you because they're nicely luminescent. These 3 points each carry their own particular projectile type and hidden health meter, with the objective being to take all 3 out. The top 2 are close enough together to get simultaneously with an arm cannon, so you should probably do that, but beyond that, just laser them continuously. These things actually always fire in sequence from top to bottom. They don't cover that much area, and they aren't terribly damaging, so you shouldn't have tons of trouble. But know that dying here does reset you back to the beginning of the stage, and you don't get any health prior to the fight, so the danger lies more in your own weakened state than in the Express's power. Once you take out all the weak points, the train will open its mouth for you, which is of course your next target. The gun there can use altered versions of its original 3 weapon types, as well as this massive stream of red bullets that absolutely tanks the game's performance. But the general strategy for pretty much all of its attacks is just move out of the way. None of the projectiles are really all that fast, and weirdly the train doesn't even deal contact damage, so if you want to, you can just circle around in front of and behind the gun and stay safe forever. It's got a lot of health, but as long as you come in with a decent amount yourself, you really shouldn't have anything to worry about. Taking the train's weapons out allows us to return to more classic brawling, although there's a little bit of a wood mechanic here on top of the thing, so you'll be pushed back a tad while wailing on these goons. Said mechanic swiftly ceases to matter, however, as we make our way inside the train at long last. It's impossible to head further to the right while on the top, so don't bother trying. It is, however, possible to head to the left instead of the right while inside, which brings you to an obscured secret area with absolutely nothing in it. Now, on a lower difficulty, this place would have had a hidden heart. On hard, however, they cruelly take it away from you, leaving you to clear yet another section on the same dang health bar. You do get a checkpoint upon landing on the train's top, but you lose all your score after you restart from there, so watch out if that bothers you. Inside the train, we get a good old-fashioned train brawl with a unique camera angle. It's quite fun. Enemies spawn in from the left and right, and the lack of verticality can make dodging a pain, but at the same time you can kick your foes back and forth all willy-nilly, and it is most excellent. First car's only got the black-coated punching units, but the second one throws some shooters at you, so watch the sides for their hands to avoid getting sniped. Blacklet's members were never involved with this train, but the movie does feature a decent amount of masked, suited evil men wielding laser weapons, as one of the big conflicts revolves around a group of criminals looking to use it to smuggle weapons. Incidentally, that's presumably where Astro's earlier comment about the Marine Express being a weapons cache came from. It is also where Wally came from, as he was pursuing one of their group after they committed an earlier murder. This guy's everywhere. Finally getting a heart given to us, and just in time too, because... another boss! Although this one's not actually new, as we've fought versions of both of these schmucks before. Dead Cross and his pet Roboid fight identically to their imposter and moon-based versions respectively, with Daddy shooting out beams from his sword and the Roboid just generally smashing things up. Each has their own health bar, but the one displayed here belongs to Dead Cross. This is significant in that by taking him out, you actually take the both of them out. Dead Cross is definitely the weaker of the two, but the Roboid's got some decent speed and range and will mess you up if you ignore it. So my personal favorite strat is to punch Dead Cross on top of the Roboid, then go back and forth to keep him there. The Roboid I find goes down a bit faster than Dead Cross if you focused on both of them simultaneously. But once it's gone, you've basically already won, because as you can see here, Crossy Poo is a massive baby and cannot take a punch. It's quite sad, really. Unfortunately for him, his defeat and our vengeance closes the stage proper, so no mercy is permissible. Number 16, Dead Cross. He's head of the anti-robot organization Blacklux. What dark secrets lie behind his mask? He wears a mask to hide his face, for he looks identical to Rag. But in the anime from 1980, the mask was a part of him and could not be removed. Dead Cross is a slang word used in stock trading. As the leader of his own political party, the Dead Cross Party, Dead Cross looks to take out his nemesis President Rag by any means possible, and for reasons known only by him. He's got a lot of technological toys, torture devices, and dirty schemes under that cloak of his, but isn't particularly physically dangerous himself, instead preferring to work from the shadows and employ his underlings to take care of the dirty work. There's more between him and Rag than meets the eye, but the game's actually going to go out of its way to explain this one for me, so I'm going to end it there. What? Well, regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time?